Before cars. Before horses. Before horses. There was just a man. A heavy load. And a long road. Every single day. For thousands of years ancient humans carried everything on their backs. Until one day someone got tired enough to stop accepting that. What they built next started with nothing but wood, mud, and a problem that refused to go away. Picture a man. He has no name we know. No grave we have found. No story anyone wrote down. But he existed. Somewhere between 6,000 and 8,000 years ago. In a world with no roads. No towns. No tools made of anything stronger than stone and bone. Every morning he woke up before the sun. He picked up everything his family needed to survive. Food. Water. Shelter materials. A child too young to walk. And he moved. His back hurt. It had hurt for years. Not the kind of hurt you take a painkiller for and forget. The deep grinding kind that wakes you up at night. That stays with you all day. That slowly bends you forward until you cannot stand fully straight anymore. But his back was not what kept him awake at night. It was hers. His wife carried their youngest child every single day. Miles of rough ground. Through heat. Through cold. Through rain. He watched her slow as the years passed. Watched her wince when she stood up in the mornings. Watched her pause for just a second before straightening her back. Then keep moving anyway. Because there was no other choice. He could not fix her pain. He could not make the distances shorter. He could not carry everything himself. But he could not stop thinking that there had to be another way. The first thing he noticed was simple. Things slide. A heavy log dragged across wet mud moves more easily than one lifted off the ground. He had known this for years. Everyone had. But one morning something shifted in how he saw it. He did not lift the load that day. He dragged it. It was not elegant. It was not fast. But it was easier. His back thanked him in the only way a broken back can. By hurting slightly less. He kept thinking. He found two smooth branches. Laid them parallel on the ground. Put his load on top. Dragged again. Even easier. He lashed a flat piece of bark between the two branches. Put the load on that. Easier still. It took him weeks to get it right. The branches split. The lashing came loose. The whole thing fell apart on uneven ground. He started again. Different wood. Tighter lashing. Lower platform. And one day it held. He had built something with no name yet. Two runners. A flat surface. Something you pushed or pulled along the ground. The world's first rarity. He loaded it that evening. Everything the family needed for the next day. Tools. Food. Water skins. The things that had been breaking his wife's back for years. He pulled it to where she was sitting. She looked at it. Then at him. She did not understand what she was looking at. He gestured for her to put the child on it. She hesitated. Then placed the child carefully on the flat surface. The child sat there. Not on her back. Not in her arms. Just sitting. On something that could be pulled. She stood up straight for the first time in years. No weight on her back. No child pulling her shoulders down. Just her own body standing the way it was meant to stand. She did not cry. People who have been surviving their whole lives do not cry easily. But she looked at her husband for a long moment. And he understood. The rarity changed everything. And also nothing. It still had to be pulled by a person. Still required human strength. On rough ground it caught and stuck. On slopes it fought back. It was better than carrying. But it was not enough. He kept watching the world around him. One day he watched a round stone roll down a hill. He had seen this 1,000 times. But that day he watched it differently. The way it moved. Continuously. Without stopping. Using the same energy over and over. He picked up a log. Round. Smooth. Placed it under the front of his rary. Pushed. The rary rolled forward. Just a little. Then stopped when the log ran out from underneath. He placed another log ahead of it. Pushed again. It rolled again. He stood there for a long time just thinking. What came next took years. Not days. Not weeks. Years. He tried cutting a round slice from a log. It was uneven. It wobbled. It split under weight. He tried again with different wood. Denser. Slower to cut. Harder to shape. But stronger. He wore through 3 stone cutting tools just shaping one wheel. His hands bled constantly those months. The work was precise in a way stone tools were never meant to be. Getting the hole in the center perfectly placed so the wheel turned without wobbling. Getting the axle smooth enough to let the wheel spin freely. Getting the fit tight enough to hold weight but loose enough to move. Researcher Marin Nguyen spent months trying to recreate this exact process using only ancient tools. His conclusion was that this work required extraordinary skill. The kind that only comes from years of failure and trying again. The man failed many times. He kept seeing his wife stand up in the mornings. He kept working. The day he attached 2 wheels to an axle and connected it to his rary, the world changed. He loaded it. Pushed. It rolled. Smoothly. Continuously. Without stopping. He pushed it across rough ground. It kept rolling. He pushed it up a small slope. It held. He loaded it heavier than he had ever loaded anything. Pushed again. It rolled. He sat down on the ground right there and did not move for a long time. He went and got his wife. He did not explain. He just showed her. She walked around it slowly. Touched the wheels. Looked at the axle. Then she looked at him with an expression he had never seen on her face before. He helped her sit on it. Then he pushed. She moved across the ground without walking. Without carrying. Without her back taking any of it. For the first time in her adult life she moved and it did not hurt. But the man was not finished. Because he was still the one doing the work. Still his arms. Still his strength pulling and pushing. He had moved the weight from her back to his hands. Better. But not enough. He started watching the animals. Not to hunt. To study. He watched how a donkey moved. How much weight it could carry. How it responded to pressure and direction. He had worked alongside animals his whole life. But now he watched differently. Could an animal pull what he had built? Could the weight move without any human strength at all? It took another generation. His son watched him work with animals. Learned what his father had learned. Added what he discovered himself. The harness came slowly. Through failure. Through watching what hurt the animal and what did not. Through finding the right materials. The right shape. The right fit. The donkey pulled for the first time on a morning nobody recorded. But somewhere a family loaded everything they owned onto a cart. A woman sat on top of it. An animal walked forward. And the load moved across the ground without breaking a single human back. The Tenga had arrived. Not invented by one person. Built by a father and a son across years of work. Each one solving the part the other could not. Within a few thousand years carts appeared across the ancient world. Mesopotamia. Central Asia. Europe. Different people. Different places. Same answer. Because the problem was the same everywhere. The exhausted backs were the same. The women who winced in the mornings were the same. The men who could not stop thinking about it were the same. The solution traveled because the pain was universal. Today you sit in a car and the road moves under you without any effort from your body. Think about that man. He never knew what he started. He never saw the roads built because of what he figured out. He never knew his son would finish what he began. He died the way he lived. Quietly. Without a name anyone remembered. But the morning he helped his wife sit on that cart and pushed her across the ground without her wincing. That was enough. He did not need to know the rest. The wheel he built is still turning. 5,000 years later. It never stopped. If this made you feel something, the video on what ancient humans did when they lost someone they loved covers the same kind of story. Worth watching next.